right now on halftime bets, so I'll take your word. I'll go with whatever
It's not like I've been
you
lighting the world on fire at halftime either.
Yeah, happy Hunter Lupke Day,
Loopkey Day.
Andy.
What a weird day it has been. And yes, if you guys do want to stick
Super
around
weird.
after halftime, we will get into some of that. We'll talk about every game. We'll go through and do our recap. But right now, yes, the Chiefs lead 20-12 with a safety that my understanding is if the penalty starts outside the end zone, you don't call it a safety.
I was upset and angry about that.
Borderline.
Yeah.
And then the face mask horse collar thing was kind of rough. I try not to get too mad about penalty stuff because sometimes it hurts you, sometimes it helps you. But a couple nice throws by Zach Wilson. They're not getting a ton of pressure on him. He looks good rolling out. He looks good when he doesn't have defenders in his lap, and he has some decent receivers. Like I was just saying to Drew, the Jets defense, the coverage is nice. They're befuddling Mahomes a little bit. And for some reason, the run defense has been rough, though, especially on the outside. They're not wrapping up. They're just like torpedoing into guys, hoping they fall down. And that's not Pacheco's game, I guess. He just spins off that and runs for another 8 yards. He is very tough for his size because he's like the turn the burners on and kick it up, but he also can break some tackles. So I would like to see more Pacheco and less Mahomes throwing it to the defense if I'm a Chiefs fan, Chiefs backer. And then the Jets kind of just need to keep doing what they're doing. It seems to be working to some degree, a little better than we've seen in past instances. And Chiefs are favored by 2.5, total 19.5. Drew, initial thoughts on that?
19.
I know. I wasn't going to argue if it was an under 21 or something.
Yeah, if it was 20, I would be beating the drum under, but 19.5 is tough. Chiefs, I think. I think the idea that the Chiefs kind of play a mistake-free half and that you've seen the best you're going to get from the Jets so far, I think is real.
Yeah, Jets will start with the ball. But yeah, that's what we've seen from this Chiefs defense the last couple of weeks.
A lot better than this so far.
Yeah, you'd think we'd get some sort of decent second half adjustment here. Yeah, I like the.
I guess. Did you feel like the turnovers for the Chiefs offense were fluky? They felt fluky.
So I was saying this too before you got in today on the first one. If you go back and look at that, he had so much time. He was just like hanging out back in the pocket, surveying the field, and he still threw it there. I don't know if they're going to make some sort of adjustments for the coverages they're seeing, because I mean, those first couple drives, the scripted stuff was great. I mean, Kelsey was open the first couple opportunities. They got some nice big chunks. Obviously, Pacheco was good, but yeah, if they make some adjustments and don't throw to the safeties and corners that are coming in underneath like that, I don't. Yeah, and Patrick Singh lobbing off his back foot. They did kind of look like lazy, like they didn't have a lot of zip on them either. I don't know if he's kind of underestimating this coverage, but they didn't look like some of his best work. I know it's a road game, it's a primetime game, but it's Mahomes. You got to expect more. So if they make some adjustments for that and get the passing game moving, I mean, we saw what happens when they get Kelsey involved. They moved right down the field.
I'm torn, man, because like I feel like the Jets defense hasn't even been playing especially well. Like they
haven't got hardly any pressure.
Yeah, like they could come out and be like like the fact that this is close, they could smell blood and come out and play a little inspired. Second half, that could happen. I don't know what to make of Mahomes with 2 picks in the first half.
Prop play. Where's Canadian guy?
Yeah, Canadian Capper 72 will give us the winner.
Honestly, because these lines are good.
Chiefs 2.5, I think, has to be the bet if there's a halftime bet to be had. This is super tight. Oh, they're 1.5 now at bookmaker. So, wrong side of the sharp market. Wonderful.
Oh, good.
Oh, cool. It's also 20.5 there now. So, somebody at bookmaker thinks this is an over. Jets which I kind of get. Like, if you've seen this half football so far and your conclusion isn't, man, we might have overrated the Chiefs defense, I don't know what else to tell you. Isn't that your main takeaway?
Do you want to flip flop on your undertake and see if we can find a flat 20 somewhere?
I mean, maybe. Actually, yeah, sure. You want to play an over? You want to play an over? Then we just cheer for Mahomes to be Mahomes things, and then cheer for the Chiefs to do something.
Yeah,
Jets do something. Maybe the Jets score all 21 points.
It hasn't been bad play calling. Yeah, like unless you see, Zach screwing it up, the play calling has been nice. I'm trying to find the team totals. Yeah, it's a juicy shit. It's basically that 10.5 where you pay a hell of a lot of juice, or 12.5.
The second half over.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the right call. Yeah.
Let's see if I can find a better price. I'm gonna open a couple more books here. See if my stream goes to shit while I open 9 tabs at once.
You gotta spend that Europe money.
Yeah.
Did you bet Europe? Be honest.
Yes.
I had
some props. I knew
you did. I knew you bet Europe.
It wasn't as big. It wasn't a very big bet. But when everybody was betting like 2-to-1s, I put in some like plus. So I bet Europe forever ago. But I did put some props in the. I have the golf newsletter on Wednesdays. I put some props in there. Europe -4, like the handicap was like plus 380, and because it's a zero sum on all these, like every point you get counts double. So you flip into a blowout score pretty quickly. So -4, I guess I could have taken that even further. The one I was worried about, Europe to score the first full point, because the third match of the day on the first day of golf was kind of a lopsided one for the U.S. And they're only a couple holes back. So I said that one, the U.S. could win that match, even if Europe's leading the first two. That one could be over first, and they could score a full point. Then I wake up to 4-0. Fair enough. Obviously, you don't even have to check. All right, that one got home. Disappointing. My disappointing bet was I did like Ricky in this spot. I didn't know he
apparently had diarrhea or something.
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to get diarrhea. So the over 1.5 Ricky points was good. Yeah, if you haven't really taken in a Ryder Cup before, obviously it's so fun because all the drama and the fans and the jingoism and the just people chants and getting mad and yelling at like fans just yelling.
Just the fact that the players care.
So yeah, that's what makes it so fun.
The players caring is so huge. Like, you would think they would care that much about their own potential professional major titles, but it definitely feels like the energy was paid for this. Yeah. All right. Let's.
The prop. Yeah, the prop. I got to look at the prop tonight. The prop is getting smoked on the Jets side. Our profit exchange prop. The profit exchange prop I came up with was Kelsey receptions versus Jets third down conversions. Because the Jets were averaging like 2.7 a game. So Kelsey would have been a favorite there. And right now the Jets already have 3 conversions. And
they're probably done now.
Yeah, they might be done. Who knows? Kelsey only has the 2 catches. He does have 3 catches. Right now it's a tie.
We should have just stuck to our guns and played the Chiefs, but well, over's fine. I
still haven't bet it. I gotta find it yet.
Chiefs can get us there.
Any other thoughts in this game? Otherwise, we can just dive right into recap mode.
Nothing. Other than Mahomes continues to cede the floor to anyone else who wants to be the MVP.
I will say my favorite thing on Twitter right now is people mad about how much they're showing Taylor Swift. Like, it's clearly too much, but at the same time, is it? Like, they know where their bread's
I haven't even really felt like it was too, like, that it was egregious at all.
Well, I mean, like, Pacheco scored and it's like
I wanted, does Taylor Swift, does she get it? Like, Pacheco scored. This is huge. Like I need to see. Yeah.
Polyamorous?
Yeah, I don't even think they've really done. I don't think they've overdone. Oh, there she is. This is too much.
Yeah.
All right,
People are cranky.
All right, you guys ready?
Although they should do props for that
it.
for sure. Like you do that with the Super Bowl.
Fucking
How many
obviously
props
you
have we
should.
bet that every?
Obviously,
will they show Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah,
or something?
who will be shown first, Giselle or whoever? Yeah.
Well, for sure, I've been into those.
All right, you ready?
All right. Yes, we're gonna start a podcast now.
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the deep dive. Andy, week 4 is in the books. It was a good week. Largely because of the Ravens.
Yeah, I was telling Dan. I
there.
said I went and hunted down when we got some good news on like, and obviously the teams and the coaches and the media and the PR are going to lie to you about all these quarterback things. There was a lot of lying going on this week about that, but there was some pretty predictive stuff about Watson not playing. So yeah, my best bet as far as odds and cashing was Ravens just straight up money line, parlayed with the game under.
Did that make it?
Yeah, it was a little dicey there. I mean, there was a couple drives. It's like, shit, are they going to get to like 35 points here? And I'm gonna have to sweat that. I think it was 39 was the number I had for that total. I didn't want to buy it up or anything and hurt my odds. So, but yeah, getting a dog price on Baltimore combined with the under was a very beautiful bet. Other than that, I had some Minnesota overs that obviously didn't get there because they.
We'll get to that game.
Yeah, they did the thing that they do again. I had the Chargers under in the game. That was dicey. Got home.
Wow.
One bet I put in. I didn't put this in till this morning, but the numbers kept coming down. I bet the Broncos -3. Teasers for the most part.
Why not, Andy?
It was a decent week. Teasers got there. Connor's prop that he gave me got there. It was like Christian Kirk overs because
the Christian Kirk. Oh,
because they were going to put Terrell on put Terrell
Ridley,
on
Ridley,
Agent Zero
Ridley,
there and Kirk eats. So and Kirk was the leading receiver.
Brilliant look.
Let's start there. Let's start with London.
Well, do you have any comments on Thursday Night Football? Detroit, a comfortable win over Green Bay. Are you kind of out on Green Bay North? It's
so hard. It's so hard to tell like what'll happen if we got fully healthy. But also, I don't think we're seeing Bakhtiari the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
If they take the bottle wrap off Watson and Jones, this offense can probably get better. But if you couldn't do it against the Detroit defense, that's sort of rough, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Jordan Love weirdly only looks good in really negative game state, which is really strange.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
No, I'm starting to be a little out because honestly, the defense hasn't been all that bad. But again, they had two massive pieces missing. You had a linebacker and your best corner missing. That's not helpful. So it doesn't feel like they're getting healthier.
No.
Joe Klecko looks like Clint Howard for some reason.
Speaking of out on Desmond Ridder.
Yeah. So the main takeaway, and I joked about this with Dan, I said I tuned in this morning thinking we'd get a brand new game. Instead, we got a rerun of last week's game for the Falcons where, team got a little bit of pressure and proved that, Ridder can't do it. They're a one-dimensional team without really, unless you get the ball in Bijan's hand and he does something amazing, there's a true lack of explosive plays. And if you become a one-dimensional team with a quarterback who can't handle pressure, then you're just not going to score points. And again, they scored 7 points. Jacksonville wasn't very good today on offense.
No, they were bad.
They had a couple of decent. They had the exact same performance as the Falcons, minus 3 turnovers. That's kind of what swung the game. Both teams did not play very well. That under did nothing but take money. And
that was the right look.
Those people were rewarded.
Yeah. The fact that the Jags team total didn't get there felt wrong. Like Jeez,
Yeah, no, and
I don't really
just,
know.
Lawrence was better. I like the fact that he ran. We got like 40 yards on the ground.
Yeah, he's an athlete, man.
He's a sneaky good runner. They need to use that a little more. I'm not sure if they're scared of getting him hurt, but more designed runs from him would be great. Boy, the Jets
Yep.
are moving
All right, let's move to the 1 p.m. slate, and let's start in Buffalo, where the Buffalo Bills win 48-20 over your power ranking darling Miami Dolphins. Huge win for Buffalo.
Massive. Not only because of the divisional implications, but the fact that your quarterback looked how he looked.
Yeah.
For like a third straight week.
Yeah.
After the question marks that
the fact that your defense held that offense to 20.
It looked like it was
albeit lost Trey White.
It's pretty massive.
Yeah.
That's the year. I mean, he's done.
Still hugely consequential for the the overall makeup of the AFC.
Yeah.
Weird. I mean,
a bunch of 3-1 teams at the top now.
Buffalo, I don't even know how long we've known this, but when I say this out loud, you're gonna be like, oh yeah. And if you disagree, say so. You know what Buffalo is, Andy? They're amazing front runners. And you know what they did? They front ran.
They even tried to kind of put the brakes on, which is unusual towards the end, and they still ended up with 48 points. Obviously, there were some turnovers, and Miami got put in a game state where they got a little squirrely at the end. But yeah, and DeMar Hamlin did play a bunch of special teams today, and you saw his price for comeback player of the year before he even saw the field today. It went from -110 to about 300, 275, 300.
Correctly.
Which is correct. The correct move for that. But yeah, the fact that Josh Allen had the hiccup in New York, threw the just ridiculous YOLO balls, got it together. They looked really good on the road in the Raiders. They looked good last week, and they looked good on offense this week. And then eventually were able to force Miami into some punts. The last 4 drives of the first half were 3 punts and a turnover, which was something after what we've seen the 15 drives prior to that against
everyone
Denver.
else.
And then,
everyone else was shredded. Yeah, they were shredding everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I guess let me ask you a question on the Bills side of things. I guess really not even the Bills, but the Dolphins defense side of things. Are the Dolphins defense, is it so bad that they're just going to get shredded by the good offenses?
Maybe. I mean, they still were missing. You're missing an edge piece. You're missing Ramsey.
I mean, their best player is Andrew Van Ginkel is their best player.
Yeah, Ramsey's not getting back to like December. So yeah, when you play good offenses that have a good game plan, if you're not getting pressure and you're missing your CB1, you're not going to do well. Like you're going to have to outscore them. Unless you can. And again, they're going to be like Buffalo. They're going to be good front runners. If they can build a lead against a team that's maybe a little lesser on the offensive side and they can get up by multiple scores, they're going to be great front running. I think they have it's a Chan is how it's said. Now everyone's making that correction, but
it's 8chan, like 8chan, the website.
Yeah, 8chan. So he looks good. They have some, they have pieces everywhere except defense right now.
Okay, well, they've played 3 of their first 4 on the road. Their next 2 games are home versus the Giants, home versus the Panthers. Then they got at the Eagles, home versus the Patriots. So they're probably looking at 6-2 or 7-1 would be my guess. So
yeah,
far from burying the Dolphins in any way, shape, or form. But I do worry about how that defense looks against the elite offenses in the NFL. No worries at all about the Buffalo Bills. Like that team, they're building something cool. Absence of oh, look at that, Jets got a touchdown. That helps her over.
Yeah.
Glad we played the over, not the Chiefs. Who wanted to play the Chiefs? What an idiot!
we were there was trepidation. It is a tie game.
And the 2-pointer. They got the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, we only
shit.
need 13 points from this point out, guys.
Oh, look at us, guys.
I thought we said a chain, and now it's a chan. I don't know. We'll sort that out.
It's like it's 8chan. Like 4chan, the website, and you know how the 4chan spun off to 8chan. It's 8chan. Yeah. All right.
Next game.
I really just though like Bills ought to open up as favorites to win Super Bowl probably.
Especially if Kansas City pisses us down their leg.
Would you disagree?
Good teams are having trouble with Jets.
Or do you think? Realistically, who's your Super Bowl favorite opener tomorrow morning?
It depends on this.
Niners or Bills? Niners or Bills?
Oh man, still probably the Niners. Not by much though.
Okay. All right.
The Niners are very good.
Let's keep cooking. Minnesota, Carolina ended with, am I reading this correctly? 34 points. There was some serious.
And 2 of them were defensive touchdowns.
That's the fucking insane part of this. You know when you made a bad bet, Andy, is when it doesn't win and you had 2 defensive touchdowns and it still doesn't get there.
I had a 44.5 on this. Early in the week, I'd played an over on this, but obviously didn't get there. It was a very frustrating game. So Carolina versus a bad defense like Minnesota was able to move the ball, but they do not move the ball quickly. There's a lot of 4-yard runs. There was a lot of conversions. There was a lot of, third and 3, 4-yard run, first down run, second down, 3-yard, shovel pass. And it was a pretty slow offense. Just, I have to go back and look at the stats, but I did watch a bunch of this game. Just kind of a, eye test look from this one. It felt like when Carolina had the ball, the clock was just flying. Time of possession for them, 38 minutes to Minnesota's 21. Obviously, Minnesota had a turnover at the goal line, which scored on the other end. It was good for the over, but another one they threw from like the 21 or 22. It wasn't technically a red zone turnover, but I think they have 8 turnovers inside the 25 now this year, which is crazy, honestly, at this point. They still won the game. Cousins wasn't great. Jefferson was. Madison was okay. They got some run with the new running back, Akers. But I mean, it was kind of an ugly game. Minnesota was obviously better. Bryce Young, still not it, but they kind of found some stuff that worked for him. Shorter stuff, easier stuff, especially against a bad defense like this. And yeah, it was kind of a struggle for Minnesota watching this. Yeah, and I pointed out both teams just horrid on third down. Minnesota 1 of 8, 1 of 2 on fourth. Keeping drives going against a bad defense is kind of a bad sign for Minnesota.
Bad.
Because this has been a bad defense, but the offense is good enough, and they've just got the turnovers. If you can't even get to the point where you're getting down to the red zone to turn it over anymore, this team has taken a turn for the worse. You should beat a team like Carolina missing basically 3.5. Luvu did play. Missing 3 starting defensive players, having a rookie coming back in. I think they covered every number though, which is not good. Not good confirmation for people that bet it. It was, unless a fate of Carolina makes sense.
Yeah, they covered every number thanks to a defensive touchdown.
Yeah,
a fluky one too. By the way, that was a super fluky.
There was 2 touchdowns. The Bills one as well. Was the way it bounced was just like right to it, dude. There's something very aesthetically pleasing about a fumble that doesn't get like kicked and swatted and flies all over and like 9 guys fall on it.
It just pops up in the air and somebody snatches it and runs.
Do you remember the one it was a Dolphins offensive fumble that went right to Tyreek somehow?
Yeah.
Just like the ultimate worst luck as a defense. Oh, they fumbled. Oh no, the fastest person on earth has it now, though, and all the defenses on this side of the field.
Yeah. No, my
game.
major takeaways for this game were the Panthers' offense is the worst offense in football. Period.
Probably.
They had the ball for 68 offensive plays today, Andy. Almost 40 minutes in terms of time of possession. The Panthers offense scored 6.
Yeah.
6 points. That's fucking horrible. That's horrible. This offense is so broken. It does not look to me like Frank Reich knows what the fuck he's doing, which is a problem long term in Carolina, beyond just the fact that you traded a bunch of capital away for the world's smallest quarterback. It's a really bad O-line. It's a really weak skilled position group, and they are kind of like they're a punt and a turnover waiting to happen in a lot of regards. I can't imagine betting another Carolina game this season.
Thielen is one of their most dangerous weapons. That kind of is.
One of their most? Who's more?
No,
he's the most dangerous weapon on the Panthers. Period.
I honestly thought Sanders might have a better game against Minnesota. It's wild how bad this offense looked. But yeah, they did not score after half. The offense only scored the 2 field goals.
So bad. All right, let's move to another bad game. Denver, Chicago. How did the Bears blow this exactly?
I don't know, because they were moving the ball, and this is not one I watched a ton of. This is one I'm definitely going to have to rewatch the quick little half-hour recap one tomorrow, because it's interesting. Where there was a while where I was getting, the red zone shit was like, oh my god, Justin Fields threw another nice ball, and all the passes I saw from him looked very crisp. He wasn't getting pressured. He was finding guys in space. Obviously, we saw this Denver defense not play very well last week, to put it lightly. But Fields was 28 of 35, 4 touchdowns, 335 yards. Like those aren't Justin Fields numbers. It's amazing, and I guess it probably speaks equally to the Denver defense. But I mean, this was a home game against a bad defense. That was my joke from last week, where I said, "Hey, the Denver defense or Denver, you have to get right against a bad offense this week." And then Chicago, you have to get right against a bad defense this week. They both did move the ball at will during certain times of the game. Denver was a little iffy at the beginning, but good adjustments at half, I guess, because they scored 24 in the second half there and were able to hold the mighty Bears down.
7 of those were on a pretty fluky turnover.
Yeah. But I mean, the defense was playing well enough at points you still have to force turnovers, and you still have to go out there and put them in bad situations. Like, the defense was decent. It still wasn't good, but it was a lot better than what we saw in that second quarter. Was just a masterclass by the Bears.
I don't think you can come out of this game feeling good about either of these teams.
No, nobody should feel good about this game.
Let's talk about Baltimore, Cleveland. The aforementioned Baltimore Ravens closed as 1.5-point favorites against Dorian Thompson-Robinson, making his first career start, Andy.
Preseason darling. The problem with preseason darlings, when they're the 4th quarterback on the roster behind Josh Dobbs and others, they're usually not playing against the Ravens.
He started behind Dobbs. Mond, he was number 4.
He was behind Mond. He played well enough in the first game. They got rid of Mond. Mond was horrid, and then eventually they said, well, we have a good enough backup. We can trade Dobbs. So if you are an Arizona fan, you can thank Dorian Thompson-Robinson for that, I guess. But he was not good. 36 passes, only completed 19 for 121, sacked 4 times, 3 picks. I don't know how much I want to count the last one. And it was a garbage time throw into the end zone in the last play of the game. But still, a lot of turnover-worthy balls. They didn't get much from any of the running backs. They kind of did running back committee with Strong, Ford, Hunt, and Robinson. DTR running a bunch himself, but that it didn't seem like the Ravens had to do a whole lot here, even being a divisional game against a very good defense. Like they were just put in such plus positions with short fields from turnovers and punts. It was fun.
I got a hat tip one of the Browns reporters who was way ahead of it. Okay. Full transparency. Most of the time when there is a quarterback injury that is going to keep a quarterback out of a game, and then that is the distinguishing, like that is the only factor that matters in the handicap of that game. If you know the right person, they're giving you that info beforehand. That was not the case whatsoever with the Deshaun Watson thing. This was literally like public information via Zach Jackson. Zach Jackson. Zach Jackson. Akron Jackson. We saw this was he was the first person to tweet this. September 29, 2023, 8:47 a.m. We saw Watson throw one pass, then he walked over to the trainer at the start of practice. Have to guess DTR is getting prepped to play. We will hear from Stefanski in an hour. I saw that tweet and I was like, oh shit. Like it's fucking on. Like
the wildest thing, Drew, was Friday.
This was Friday.
No, yeah, but I'm saying they showed practice videos where DTR took all the snaps. Yeah. I mean, and still the market didn't want to budge until we got actual confirmation.
Mary Kay Cabot came through with Watson's still gonna try.
Oh, I know. They just kept pushing that. It's like, well, why wouldn't he take any reps really on a Friday then? So I was fine moving on that.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was a bit of a gift. And Baltimore didn't have to do a ton, but they still looked good, especially with some of the red zone possessions were awful nice the way they got Lamar moving. Yeah. I don't have a lot on this one though.
That was the only thing that mattered to me today, one way or the other. If the Browns found a way to win in the absence of Watson, I was going to be pretty fucking upset tonight. And the Ravens getting the win, I'm a little tipsy because I was pretty excited. Still, like I still can't really wrap my head around the way the market reacted to this in any way, because this was all public info. This was not insider anything.
They just kind of trust the lies. Well, and to be fair, we saw it with Derek Carr.
You know what? Here's one thing that one commentary on the game. You ready for this? I was comfortable firing hard Ravens, in part because I thought, as good as the Browns defense is, this might be the top of the market on them. And as good as the Browns defense is, Lamar Jackson knows how to neutralize these guys, and he knows how to neutralize a really aggressive D-line, right? And it felt like that actually manifests to a degree. Do you agree?
No, and like I said, he's dangerous to have in the red zone when you're defending 500 things. You have a dangerous tight end. Tight ends are always a pain in the ass down in the red zone because there's a lot of misdirection if they're just leaking out. You have a couple of good receiving backs. You have to take care of all that, and then on top of it, he just runs those in. He ran 2 shorter touchdowns in today. It's a really big pain to defend when you've just watched them come all the way down the field, or maybe not, because there were some short fields off the turnovers and just kind of piss poor offensive series we saw put together by Cleveland. All right, where does that leave us? Houston?
Yeah, what the hell happened? I think the major takeaway is Houston is well coached and they're playing hard. And the fact that they had no offensive linemen didn't matter. They've schemed ways around that, and whatever magical wizardry that Shanahan had for the Niners, where in the absence of Trent Williams, it didn't matter. There were still no issues with pressure. Bobby Slowick has brought that to Houston. Pittsburgh was getting pressure often. It didn't matter. And then on the flip side, Pittsburgh's offense was useless. Kenny Pickett goes out with injury. I'm expecting he's going to be gone for an extended stretch of time.
That looked bad. That looked like a extended miss. Trubisky, not a terrible backup. I mean, he's a guy who started in the league a bunch. He could do a lot worse, but it's not like this offense is going to get better. And we've seen this. I mean, even in the win against Cleveland, the offense didn't do a whole lot. That was 2 defensive touchdowns. In the game versus Las Vegas, it's not like the offense looked very good for big chunks of time. This has been a really, really tough hang on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense has kept them in games. And if somebody can out scheme the defense you put out there, which they did with a rookie quarterback, then you're going to have games like this where you look really, really bad. It had tipped CJ Stroud. It was one of those things where, where we end up on week 3, we're talking like about week 3, and we have these 2-0 teams, but they haven't played anybody.
Yeah.
And I always have the thing that's like, just because they haven't played anybody doesn't mean they're not good. They could be good. We just don't have a good indicator yet. Like, good teams beat bad teams, but mediocre teams beat bad teams too. So I was on the fence with Stroud. In fact, I was a little bit out. I'm saying, we're seeing a ton of garbage time yards. He's accurate. He's not throwing the interceptions, but he hasn't done it in neutral or positive game state yet. And then he goes out and makes me look like an asshole the last 2 weeks because he's been great. Slowick obviously calls a good offense. Ryans is turning out to it's such a small sample to say this, hard, like, hey, he's a really, really good coach. But so far, I mean, looks like an absolute leader of men. This team's playing really tough. They've had a cluster injury on the offensive line and the defensive secondary, and we've seen 2 straight wins.
Yeah. I'll also say that Nico Collins is a fucking G. That guy can play.
Yeah.
Like, he's a bona fide wide receiver 1. Like, yeah, you're in good shape if you're a Houston fan.
I was trying to think who. Yeah, not a lot of other guys got a lot. Robert Woods got 6 targets. I don't know if that's the answer. I mean, he's a veteran.
I want to see more Tank. Full tank. More Tank Dell.
I want more Tank. I want more Mechie. Yeah. I want more Dalton Schultz.
I want more. Give me more Tank. Give me more Dalton Schultz. Give me more Dameon Pierce. Which is actually the funny part about the commentary in the Texans, Andy, is that they have a really, really good second unit in a lot of regards. And like, they haven't even figured out who their best players are yet.
That's fair.
And so this team could be quite good by the time we get to the end of the season. I'm prepared for it, at least. LA Rams, Colts.
And I made a joke about this. And we've already talked about this team too. The losing to Minnesota was not the most depressing part about being a Carolina fan today. Like, seeing Stroud be really good now, seeing Richardson even Richardson being good, and your guy is really struggling so far. It's early. It's so
your
early.
Guy, whichever guy you picked, you probably were going to be miserable though, because apparently your offensive line is the worst in football, and your skill position group is the worst in football.
Yeah,
and Frank Craig has no vision, so you're in deep trouble.
Rams. I did not watch a ton of this outside of red zone highlights and stuff. I went back and checked.
I watched it all.
This was one too where we saw kind of almost like the Bears game where you just a team was really pouring it on, and then we saw some adjustments. We saw some big plays, and they still didn't end up getting the win. But the Colts were frisky there. They're kind of an annoying team to play. And obviously the Rams offense is certainly something at this point.
The Rams offense is like legitimately good. So the Rams came into this game wildly fatigued, like as fatigued as any team is going to be all season. And the Colts weirdly spotted them a 20-point lead and then started coming back. I think if you had played an over in this game and it was like 23-0 at one point, you were probably pulling your absolute hair out. Like, how in the fuck have there not been more points? Like, what is happening here? There was a lot of points the Colts left on the field early in this game. And in general, the Colts are not a clean offensive operation at all. Like, their skill position group is awful. Michael Pittman aside, like I don't know who's a long-term
Can you
starter in
name
the
their
NFL
leading
in that group.
receiver? Looking.
Was it the fat? It was the fat 85, not Mo Cox, but one of the other turds, offensive lineman. Ogletree?
Ogletree, yeah.
Ogletree. So again, I watched every snap of this game. It was a tough pass. But again, fat Kyle Granson, who weirdly with the game on the line, minute to play, trying to drive and score the game-winning field goal, they went to him, and Richardson threw just a fucking beautiful pass. He got him right, only where he could catch it. He had to adjust to get there, and he dropped it. It would have converted a 3rd and 10. It would have moved the chains and set the Colts up for the game-winning field goal. He dropped it. That was kind of consistent with the way I felt about the the Jets are gonna score again. That was kind of how I felt about the Colts offense all day long. Richardson is super exciting to watch and like just a fun player. He's dynamic as hell in the red zone. He was unstoppable. They had unstoppable play calls on the 4th down on the 2-point conversions they needed. And I was sad they didn't get the ball first in overtime. Puka Cup is also amazing. He is kind of the perfect hand in glove receiver for Matthew Stafford offense, and the Rams are excellent. Their offense is excellent. Their defense has weaknesses, surely. But the fact that the Rams won this game, considering the fatigue disadvantage they were in, I think is noteworthy.
Somebody had a question about Jonathan Taylor. I still don't have clarity. I guess he's in the facility every day. Like he's doing rehab at the Colts facility, but the way they have him, on the PUP, there's still like this weird practice window thing. Like they have 4 weeks to either put him on the active roster or trade him. They're still listening to trade offers. They're still trying to trade him. But at the end of week 8, they kind of have to shit or get off the pot and put him on the active roster. I'm not sure if there's still some infighting and he doesn't actually want to be on this team. Clues, but they've opened the practice window for him to practice. He could practice this week and play on the team if they choose to put him on the active roster. He could be on the field on this upcoming week. I just don't know what exactly the thought process is in the center of Indiana.
They should listen. They should listen to trade offers because they don't fucking need him.
Zach Moss is good.
Puka Cup is doing everything. He's doing it all. There's really no reason to upset the cart at this point. I really don't think that you're upgrading the Rams offense with Cup back.
Oh no, I'm talking Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Taylor. If they trade Taylor, then they're that the Colts need a healthy
And I think you're silly. I would bring Cup back. If you bring Cup back, another weapon's fine.
I guess it's redundancy though. Puka should not see his target share drop. Period. He is playing so fucking well right now. That guy is absolutely killing it.
Yeah, I think Cup can come back. I'm just not sure where he's at. I think he's close. We'll see. What's next?
I didn't know you were talking about Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I know. I was so lost when we went.
They need Jonathan Taylor back badly.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Anthony Richardson, though, is the real deal. That guy's awesome.
Oh yeah, he's very good. Tampa Bay.
Yeah. I lost on
I'm
this
not
game.
so sure Derek Carr should have played. He looked bad.
Yeah, he did.
And there's been some teams that have looked pretty decent against Tampa. You're at home. It's not the best defense in the world, man. He should look better. I don't know if he was 100% ready to go. They did put Jameis in eventually. He threw one ball and it ended up as an interception. The offense was rough. Alvin Kamara had 14 targets. He only failed to catch one of them. He had 13 catches for 33 yards. I'm not sure if you could do that if you're trying. That is
I don't even know.
That is an amazing stat line. I mean, hat tip to Baker. He looked pretty decent. He did throw the one pick. He only took one sack. It wasn't under a ton of pressure today. They, without a competent offense, the Saints defense kind of cracked. And it didn't look nearly as good today. Just constant. I'd love to see what the time of possession was because it didn't feel like the Saints had the ball for very long.
It was only slightly
even.
Yeah, it was only slightly in
Yeah, it was
favor of
crazy.
Tampa. The bigger disparity, Andy, was total yards. 353
197.
for the Bucs, 197 for the Saints. The Saints offense is pretty fucking terrible. And
yeah, it's in hell right
some
now.
of it, and like here's the real what is happening part of this. It's got to be the coaching and the scheme. It's got to be. You have a really really good set of receivers, and you add Alvin Kamara back to the mix. And I don't know if you were following this game, Andy, but the Bucs lost another secondary piece in this game. Like another guy went out, and they were down to CB6. Didn't matter. It did not change the Saints' vision in terms of how they were trying to attack. And I don't understand exactly why these guys are just broken and stupid. It doesn't really, I don't get it. The Saints were, I'm bent out of shape because I bet the Saints. And I felt like for so much of this game, I was like, why are you doing what you're doing?
I was close on them. I missed the number, which I guess saved my ass in this. But yeah, they lost to safety to a concussion early in the game. Evans ended up tweaking a hamstring. I guess it's not super bad, but he was out for part of the game. The Saints lost an offensive lineman for a bit too. Pete was evaluated for concussions, so some decent injuries. But yeah, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers joined the other 3-1 teams, such as Buffalo and Baltimore, and they do lead that division now. So weird. It's gonna be weird if we get Baker hosting.
I mean, 3 wins in the NFC South right now feels like running away. I mean, I know.
Well, and the Falcons and Saints are 2-2, but you've got a tiebreaker over the Saints, and yes, it's essentially a 2-game lead at that point. And Bucs Falcons, I would probably, if you gave me Bucs Falcons pick 'em at a neutral, probably betting Baker in that spot. Defense be damned. They're not missing enough pieces to not harass Ritter a little bit. But yeah, that wasn't a very entertaining game whatsoever.
Bad game.
I guess unless you live in Tampa, you're probably enjoying it. 3-1, baby.
Yeah.
Vikings.
Speaking of entertaining games, Washington Philly was amazing. You thought that Philly was going to run away with this one. So, and I was pro commies. Tell me what happened. What happened?
I ended up teasing this. Obviously regretted it. It still got home. We should probably take Sirianni's sharp card for calling that touchdown, that corner, that little go route to the corner.
Yeah.
That was infuriating. I was so mad about that. And then on top, I'm pissed. And then I see the taunting, and I'm like, motherfucker! Now they're gonna have good field position. No, and truthfully, it's everything I said about Howell. Howell had looked good preseason. Howell had looked good in some early, spots. When he was under constant duress, he looked like absolute garbage. 2 weeks ago. Yeah. This is the Howell that you're gonna get if he's not super rattled and he's able to throw, with some confidence. He made some really nice throws.
Yeah, he made some nice throws.
We've always said this. We said this from the get-go, way back in preseason. We said they have pieces on this offense that work. If Howell is good, and then, I was
Riverboat Ron, your card's been revoked, big boy.
For my teaser, the purposes of my teaser, I was like, I know they're just going to kick this because he hasn't been Riverboat Rod in 5 years. But for sure, I mean, everybody said it. He should have gone for 2. You were a 10-point dog. I'm not sure how many.
I don't even know how much win probably they lost there, but you had a 40% chance of converting a 2-point.
You certainly weren't fit. Probably weren't 50-50 in overtime. So I would.
No, you absolutely were not.
I do need to mention before we get too deep into this, Today's podcast brought to you by our friends at Ticketmaster, ticketmaster.com/NFL. That's where you're going to get your tickets for what week are we going up on here? 5?
Week 5. We're a quarter of the way through the season. First quarter's over, Andy. We got buys. There's some teams on bye next week. There's some teams on bye next week.
They are on bye, but Ticketmaster gives you the flexibility to sell or transfer your tickets if you're, a Panthers fan that no longer wants to go to watch this team anymore. Mobile tickets make it easy to get in on game day. You can even customize your app.
I feel like if you're selling your Panthers tickets, you're selling low.
Yeah,
you're selling the bottom.
If you had season Panthers tickets and you were going to sell them on Ticketmaster, you are essentially Ryan Poles trying to move Chase Claypool for like a 5th rounder now. You have not.
That story killed me today.
I can't believe we forgot about that.
That killed me today. Yes.
Honestly,
the Bears are shopping Claypool for a 5th or 6th round.
You know what's better than a player who doesn't want to be on your team? an extra punt in the 5th round. Honestly, it is. Like 100% you trade him and get a pick. That's fine. Do it. Get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well just cut him because he's
all right. What team?
Yeah, you're not getting a 5th or 6th. We got Cincy Tenny. Weirdest game of the morning. I didn't really feel. Okay, so I bet the under here.
Bet Tennessee and I passed this. I couldn't.
I bet the under here, and there was a little bit of market resistance at around 41 all week, and I was a little nervous about this game because I was like, man. Like, no injury designation for Burrow. Like, oh boy, like, is Cincinnati finally gonna fucking take the top off? Like, no, they were completely ineffectual in every aspect of the game. 3 points, I think, flattered them. Like, honestly, Cincinnati was useless in this game. The 27 points for the Tennessee Titans actually felt lower than they should have had. Like, this
they had 400 yards. This was my take from last. That was my pushback a little on. We were going back and forth with someone about whether the Saints defense was any good, and someone shit on Tennessee, and I said my sneaky take is Tennessee's offense isn't terrible.
They're not.
Like, Tannehill's not a bad quarterback, and they have like 2 or 3 good receivers if they're all healthy.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, we probably should have seen more points out of this. They got 400 yards.
Yeah, they should have scored into the 30s.
And it can't be fun to be Chase. Higgins, that injury looked like he might miss a little bit of time now. Yep. And then obviously Burrow's still not 100%. So it is a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Yeah. No real time for them to get right though. You're 1-3 now, and you have already lost to the Ravens.
2 divisional games, Browns and Ravens.
You're at the Cardinals next week, who have been playing pretty hard, and then you're home for the Seahawks, and then you have a bye week. So the best case scenario is you're probably taking a 3-3 into the bye week. But things look absolutely broken there.
And what if the Texans just keep getting better as they get healthier? Because then there's a stretch where you go at Niners, Bills, Texans, Ravens.
They better, yeah. I
hope CJ Stroud is a mirage. Yeah, not a lot to say on that other than Cincinnati is just not showing up right now with an injured quarterback, and Tennessee, despite the, probably not having a very good defense, this was a good matchup for them, and the offense looked good. Yeah,
we agree. Tennessee was way friskier than I expected. And that under was a weird sweat.
I really thought it was gonna see. I almost bet Tennessee. Couldn't quite do it.
That would have been
the under was moving, and
what's funny?
I couldn't make sense of the up and down movement on the under, but I really expected like a 14-10 game that you were gonna sweat all day.
So just like 10,000 foot view, what the morning games kind of had a vibe today, and it was like the contrarian better probably fucking crushed.
Yeah.
Like Steelers shouldn't
and then they gave a bunch of it back in the afternoon.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Steelers shouldn't have been laying points on the road. There was There were like 10 things that the contrarian bettor probably was pretty excited about betting this morning. Actually, I will say though that New Orleans got bet pretty aggressively by the sharper folks. That went out to 5 at circa, and New Orleans was definitely the wrong side. Maybe they got a little bit unlucky, but
offense just maybe they thought they were getting Jameis for a full game because that offense was very stuck in mud.
It was quite bad. Vegas Chargers cover, although it was one of the most uncomfortable covers I can remember. Tons of questions about what you're going to get from Herbert after the bye. He broke his finger. It didn't look right. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about this off air right before we got on. Could not believe that, like, the go on 4th down is the right call. You go for that 4th down, you win your game. You weren't quite going to be able to win it with that one. I think you needed one more 1st down, but I love that call. The play call to use the guy with the broken hand. Didn't love that. Didn't love that in the as your first call there. But yeah, the offense, it was always going to struggle with Williams out. Palmer stepped in, had some nice catches, but at the same time, this is still going to be taking a step back if you don't have Mike Williams as your deep threat, and Eckler is still not back. Even though, boy, there was some Instagram posts and Twitter posts that we really thought like he was like at the game, dressed and ready to go. I don't know what the hell that was all about. The bye for them this week is huge. If it's just like a dislocated finger or something that can heal, if that thing's broken, that's worse, I suppose, but it's non-throwing hand.
Yeah, getting Derwin James back, getting a healthy they need time to get right.
Well, the really good timing for their bye, honestly, between Derwin James, Parham screwed up his wrist during the game. They had another player on you, and Khalil Mack had a hell of a day. 6 sacks, one short of the record. That's some of that is just being.
I thought I was like I watched that game pretty closely, and I thought they made that was a graphical error.
No, I wasn't watching the game.
It's like, wait, does that mean like the Chargers have 6? Even then, I was like, I don't think the Chargers have 6, do they?
I saw the tweet, Drew, that said he had 6. I don't watch games if I've bet an under in them. I just can't do it with my heart condition, So I had to go look, and I'm like, holy shit, because I thought the same thing. It's he has 6 sacks in the year.
Yeah,
that's very good.
He had 0 sacks on the year, 6 in the game.
Yeah, so I guess it was correct technically.
Yeah, I just watching the game. It didn't. It felt like a bunch of it was cleanup stuff.
New England showed up to Dallas? ? Exclamation point. That was a pretty rough hang. Not even that Dallas was that great at times. It just they were certainly good enough to beat what we saw from Mac Jones. Mac Jones was pretty rough. He had a bad day. They even pulled him later in the game. They didn't get anything going on the ground. Stevenson and Elliott were bad. Just a really, really poor offensive showing. Dallas's defense, I guess, finally had a time. The Diggs injury happened later in the week. It's not like they had all week to kind of sort out how they were going to do the the defense, making the adjustment with, moving your CB2 to CB1 and then everything. It's a domino effect for all your coverages. And they really showed, what a problem that is late in the week, I guess. But yeah, the Dallas defense looked really good. If you're slow on offense, Dallas is going to kill you. Yeah, the pressure, the run stops, just everything.
Gonzalez out mattered. Yeah, I agreed. This was a disastrous game for New England. I think that's basically their season. And you know what it was? It was also Mike McCarthy's ability to evade some hot seat with this performance, I think.
You want to hear something fucked up?
Yeah, go ahead.
When we talked on the end of the Wednesday pod, and I made the bet, and I said I'm betting him first coach fired. I accidentally did not. I bet him coach of the year instead.
Oh no!
Which it's like, oh good. Well, he won a game like that. first Coach fire was bad bet. Well,
So
Coach
is
of the
Coach
Year
of the
isn't
Year.
winning too. It's a horse apiece. It doesn't matter. Both are losers. So it's just a funny ticket I have, I guess.
It's worth noting that the Patriots turned the ball over 3 times and they failed to convert on 2 fourth downs. The 2 of the turnovers went 4 touchdowns directly for the Cowboys. This got out of hand before it really ever was a game. Mac Jones and company are going to face a ton of scrutiny this week.
And the Patriots took money. That got bet down from 7 to 6.
The Patriots did take money. And you know what else? The Patriots have, there's no relief in sight for this team.
No, it's not a great schedule.
Saints, Raiders next week and the week following. And then you got Bills, Dolphins, Commies, Colts into the bye. Patriots probably aren't winning more than 5 games.
Yeah, they need to sort out a quarterback. I don't think Mac is long term, and obviously Bailey Zappi isn't going to be great either.
No.
And yes, congrats to the Deep Dive DGens Discord. Some of you had some massive numbers on don't know his first name, Lupke, to score a touchdown anytime, because I don't even remember who exactly originated the thought, but it was Dallas. We talked about it on the pod. They don't have Elliott anymore, and Pollard isn't a bruiser inside when things get tight in the red zone. And these guys solved it. Said, "Well, this is your short yardage guy, maybe," and his number was huge.
Hunter,
anytime Hunter
Lipke.
RC Montgomery, the GOAT, we'll give him credit for that one. So that was it was fun to see him in the game, close to the goal line late. The only other game on the docket was Arizona, San Francisco, where Arizona deserved a better fate, but at the same time, what are you going to do? It's the goddamn Niners. Christian McCaffrey is the best player in the league, probably. Like, he's just an unstoppable force with the ball in his hands, and even having a squirrely quarterback like Josh Dobbs, it's not going to be enough against a team like this. It probably felt bad if you had the best of the number, if you got the 14.5s, the 14s that were out there, various times early in the market, and you had to put up with that late touchdown. Because I don't know. I don't know if it was like truly the right side, but there was times where it's like, the Niners 14 maybe shouldn't cover this huge number.
Yeah, 14 was the correct number. There was no red side in that game.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't bet this game. I did watch it though.
Total yards. 395 for the Niners to 362 for the Cardinals. Whoa. I'm going to dig into this a little more carefully. Cardinals were 2 of 3 on 4th down, did not turn the ball over. Cardinals might be better than we realize. The Niners are as good as we realize. And they're probably going to be our last undefeated team because they are taking on the Cowboys this week, and then they have a relatively easy handful of games after that. Andy,
Tyreek didn't have the best day. JJ had a good day, plus 2 touchdowns, but Christian McCaffrey should open as the favorite for OPOY. Like he should probably be up there in the top 5 for MVP when that opens too.
Are you ready for? I guess here's the question: do you think McCaffrey deserves the credit for being the best player on the offense, or is this the beginning of Brocktober? Or is today Brocktober 1st?
It is Brocktober 1st. I don't know how much you're gonna view like credit per se when a guy just has. I mean, what's he have, like, how many receiving touchdowns does he have now to add on? He has 6 rushing touchdowns already. He's scored and that's going to be a narrative too. If this streak keeps going and it's like November and he scored a touchdown in like 20 straight games, that's going to be something that's just going to be, brought up ad nauseum. So, I mean, the fact that he has 2023. He has how many touchdowns? He doesn't have a receiving touchdown. So he does now. So he has 7 touchdowns at this point. I mean, place that out. If he has a 20 touchdown season and like 1,000, what are you going to do? Not give him offensive player of the year? Like Tyreek would have to have a 2,000-yard season. He should be favored. And I don't think you can give Brock credit. Brock's fine. He's a sprocket. He's a cog in the machine, man. Nobody's that excited about Brock. Christian McCaffrey's a god.
Yeah. I mean, Brocktober is going to be intense, man. They actually have Dallas at home. Then they got back-to-back at Browns, at Vikings, and they got the Bengals at home. Yeah. So you got some live teams. If you win these games, like the market's going to be absolutely out of control on the Niners if they're 8-0 at that point. These are good teams.
The
next two, especially Cowboys and Browns.
So the market went against you a little on Monday. You brought that up.
Yeah, well.
It's kind of stuck there though. It hasn't moved a ton off of Seattle -1.5. Any thoughts on that one? I made Seattle a slight favorite, and I missed the number, so I'm done.
You want some of my thoughts?
Yeah.
Market went against me in a bunch of fucking games this week, Andy. It didn't matter at all. So no, I don't really care.
That doesn't correlate to the Monday game though. We'll just talk about the situational spot because it's not great for Seattle.
No, this is bad. I mean, it's just like Giants got a bunch of rest coming into this one. I thought we were going to get Andrew Thomas. Turns out, apparently, he's more seriously hurt than I just realized. But really, like this is just a matchup of Giants have interior pass rush. Seattle's dealing with some injuries to their interior O-line. If you can get interior pressure on Geno Smith, you can turn him into a clown. And I think Giants, with extra time to prepare, are going to have a little, some wrinkles to really test what I think is a bad defense in Seattle. So we'll see. I bet the Giants, the market disagrees vehemently.
You should have just been patient.
Take that for what it is.
I mean, it's not like it's a huge win probability move from like 1-1. So it wasn't like some massive move. I mean, I think just the number. People disagreed that Seattle should be a dog, but not enough to like move it out to 2 or anything. So I'm fine with this. I made this like Seattle -1. I didn't bet it because of the situational shit. It's not great. It's not a good spot for them. And as Drew brought up, it just might be a bad day for Geno. If that pass rush is getting home up the middle, it doesn't matter if they're a slightly better team than the Giants. That ruins the entire game plan, and the Giants win the game. So I'll probably be cheering for the Giants with you in this one. And yeah, Thomas, hopefully he can get back sooner than later so they can fight for a wild card. I don't know. Do you want to pull up the board quick? You have any thoughts? Did you look at look-aheads at all?
A little bit. I mostly was just dialed in on what's Dallas San Francisco going to open at. And it opened at 3.5, which is pretty amazing. I mean, they're daring you to take Dallas in this one. What do you think?
Look at my what was look ahead there?
It was 3. It was 3.
All right. So yeah, I had 3 or 3.5 for the look ahead. I make it 4.1, which isn't huge off.
Okay.
I haven't done any work with it. I'm probably fine with that price.
It's
one I probably won't bet, and I'm going to watch the shit out of it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting games are like, do you have the cojones to take the Jags against the Bills? I'm going to ask myself that 10 times this week before ultimately betting the Jags. Do you have the cojones to take Houston's as dogs against Atlanta? I don't know why.
What did that Bills game open at? 5.5.
5.5, yeah.
So that's up a little. That was 4.5.
Yeah. I think Houston's interesting against Atlanta. Obviously, that's a weird one because you're buying a little bit of Houston at the top if you bet Houston, but boy, oh boy, Atlanta coming off of that miserable.
Well, that's not a great travel spot either.
And no, it's a terrible. They're at a travel disadvantage at home, which is rare. There. Baltimore Pittsburgh is interesting. Yeah, 2.5. Yeah. Baltimore Pittsburgh is interesting. That one goes one way. Baltimore, in my opinion, because I think Kenny Pickett probably will not play.
Yeah, that's not up at some places.
Yeah, because of the
which fair.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's a huge drop off to Trubisky though.
Cincinnati, Arizona is adjusted down to 4.5. Wow.
Mahomes has some time here. Think he can run 22 yards? Oh my God, he's going to run 30.
Classic Mahomes.
Illegal contact. Well, they left. I mean, I didn't see another guy in the frame for quite a while there, Patrick. That was a long run. Yeah, my biggest quandary here is going to be figuring out the Denver Jets number, which maybe I just don't. Maybe that's just a game I don't bet. Cincinnati, Arizona is terribly interesting. That was one where Cincinnati on the look ahead was like a 7.5-point favorite.
Down to
and now
4.
it's 4.5.
Wow.
I mean, obviously that's a huge difference. And, there's almost an argument to take Cincinnati, but
Philly Rams is
I'm
a
not
tough
doing
one
it.
too, man. If the Rams are going to play that well in the worst spot on their calendar, and now they're home against Philly, it's like Rams, I don't know, deserve to be that big of a dog. That should probably be 3.
Oh, and Rams definitely have some soft spot. Or excuse me, as much as I like Philly and have bet on them a couple weeks in a row, they definitely have some soft spots in that secondary that you take advantage of. And if the Rams are going to be playing like they are offensively, that number's probably. Well, I'm seeing that's not up right now. I'm wondering why on that. I'm just looking at Bookmaker. Yeah, Patriots Saints is a game I don't want to watch. Patriots are favored after that performance. Good for them.
I think
Rams.
Probably got to get New Orleans before you get confirmation that that's a healthy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing this up at a couple places. Was there? Stafford was dinged up, but he said he's fine, which I guess is still lying season.
Oh yeah,
maybe he's not fine. I think he was. I mean, I thought it was pretty apparent he was just going to be good to go next week. That's the only thing I could see that there would be an issue.
He was razor sharp in OT.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't. I didn't see any massive injuries for the Eagles.
Maybe it's a Cup thing. They don't know if Cup's going to be activated. Could it be?
Left tackle was hurt. Oh, or inactive. Alaric Jackson at that point. I don't know, man.
Played this last week.
No clue. Somebody did play the over. Stafford. Yeah, Stafford questions could be the only thing I could think of.
This game is a fucking mess, man.
This game is kind of a slog at this point.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah, basically everything we decided on at halftime was rough.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of penalties. I guess that was holding. You got to call that. All right. I don't know. Unless you have anything else on week 4, or week 5.
Not really.
The Dallas game is going to be a banger. Every week we're going to be.
I guess
a banger,
you think Jimmy comes back for Green Bay? I mean, against Green Bay? Probably, right?
I don't know. The fact that he was practicing and that, like, hey, he's practicing, he might play kind of stuff, that it's just that, they haven't let people come back that early, where it's been, if you've gotten a concussion and you're in the protocol on Monday, you just don't get to play that week. It seems like this year. Right. But a lot of those guys were just right away on Monday. All right, he's going to be, if we practice today, he would have been a full go. By Wednesday, we're like, he's practicing. Thursday, he's cleared the protocol. He's going. I think Jimmy goes because it seemed like it wasn't a bad one. Yeah, and then I should mention, I forgot to bring this up too with some of the games next week. The Thursday game.
Dude, what the fuck's going on, Moms?
That was a holding call, I guess. I don't know.
Was
it? I apologize that it's
a pretty weak call.
So this game was supposed to have Aaron Rodgers in it. So I understand what we're doing with this. But the early Thursday night games in the year continue to just be clunkers because it is Bears commies. Yes, Howell looked good, but for that one, our profit exchange prop, I've liked these head-to-heads with guys who are lined near each other. And actually, because people have been betting into them, they're actually getting some nice liquidity. So Justin Fields, James Robinson, Brian Robinson, totally different person.
Yeah, James Robinson's out of the league, I think.
He's out of the league. Brian Robinson, Justin Fields, rushing yards head-to-head on profit exchange. You can get in on that liquidity.
Brian Robinson is a fucking truck. That dude
remember he got shot and then he just played like 4 weeks later.
That dude has a lower half of the body that's
he's got dumps like a truck.
He's got dumps like a truck.
Thighs like what?
Thighs like what? Exactly.
All night long.
Ooh. My goodness.
Let's call it a day. Let's call it a podcast. Let's watch the last 4 minutes of this slog and get some sleep. We'll be back halftime tomorrow, hang out for a bit.
Sounds good.
I don't know what the fuck they're doing here. Kelsey just cut a ball, and they're not showing her. Stella? I don't want to see that.
Is Taylor still at the game?
Do we have proof?
Do we have proof? Is she there?